Hey, everybody, and welcome. We finally made it. Our first episode of my new podcast called Plot Twist. Welcome, welcome. So, I'm super excited to start this new podcast journey with you. We're going to have people on in the film industry, we're going to have people on in marketing, we're going to have people on in these incredible different fields, and we're just going to talk to people about their crazy lives and all the twists and turns involved with it. My first guest is someone who it took a while to go ahead and track down because he's a very busy guy. His name is Seya Eggler. He is currently a CEO, co-founder of a company called Alpine Racer. And that segued as a 20-year-old to now as a 22-year-old. That company segued him into a contract being the head of content creation for the Formula One Sauber team. You might see them on the grid. They're really hard to miss. It's bright green. And he is the one single-handedly creating all of the content that you see on their social media. And they have an extensive schedule. So we get into that in our podcast here today. But we also talk about photography and all of our favorite things that create that need in us to find these beautiful images. He started his first company when he was 20 years old, and that led him straight into Formula One and beautiful shots of just motorsports in the Swiss Alps, guys. This kid is awesome, and I'm super excited for you to get to know him. We ask questions about marketing and content creation, photography, and of course, the most important question, what's his favorite color? So tune in down below and make sure you hit all the links in the bio and see all of his work. But I'm super excited for you. Enjoy the podcast. Be kind. It was my first time. Still getting used to this whole thing, but hope you like it. And let me know if there's anybody in your life that you think has a pretty good plot twist. Anyways, here you go, guys. I mean, I have a soundboard. I could always, just play a drum roll or something, clapping. Anyways, here you go, guys. All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the actually first episode of Plot Twist, my new podcast. I'm Eliana Pires Janssen, and I'm super stoked to kick off this podcast journey with you. Reminder for those who may have missed it, Plot Twist is about diving into fascinating stories of incredible people who've just take awesome, unexpected turns in their careers and lives. We have an awesome guest to start us off. Go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us your favorite color. First question.
What an amazing question. Thank you so much. Nice to be here. My name is Seya Egger, and I'm from Switzerland. I have my own company here with two friends of mine that focusing on video and photo projects, mostly in the automotive and motorsport section. Sometimes also like what comes with it, like watches and just cool stuff. And my favorite color is I think it's green, like a British racing green, like I think something
Fair.
like this.
Ooh, okay, fair enough. That's a good color. I mean, I feel like also your daily workload is a lot in green too, but we'll get to that later. So what came first, cars or photography?
Actually, photography and videography. Yeah, actually, at
Eh,
first just videography when I was 12 years old, and then afterwards, cars came with it. But just when I turned like around 18, of course, when I was younger, I watched Formula One with my dad, for example. But it was like not my main thing. But then, like when I turned 18, got my first car, then it was got way more real.
Fair enough. And for everybody hearing, listening, watching, he is 22 years old. And, and you got your first really badass contract this year, right? Working for an F1 team. And the amount of content, at least for me in marketing and in just that branding world, Formula One sets a very high bar of amount of content created for ever. Course, yeah. You have your season and then you have your off season. But what is that load on you, and how do you even handle your data? Like, what's your workflow when you shoot something and it has to go up because it's a real time kind of situation? What's your editing process like? What apps are you using? Like, how are you doing that process at such a high, like, a quality content? Like, your content is chef kiss, it's great,
Thank you so much. Thanks so
but
much.
like that amount of workload, what's your like go-to practice?
The thing is, you have to be really fast. As you already mentioned, Formula One is really high paced. Not only on track, it's only also off track. For not only for my side, for everyone that works in like this area. And you have to be really fast. You have to sometimes create content, and it has to go immediately online afterwards. So you have to be fast, because after some minutes to hours, it's already irrelevant, because everyone saw it already. So you have to be on it. And like the editing process, I optimized everything to the max, so I can bring like the camera, plug the SD card right in, upload everything.
Shoot
Sometimes
it,
I do the
yes.
editing by myself, but like often I send it to an agency called SMG in London, and they do the editing because they also do the upload for social media.
Oh,
So
perfect.
it's like a good workflow we have. So we work quite close together. So afterwards, it's not always that easy to like handle all this stuff on track,
Yeah.
because I'm most of the time alone there,
Wow.
and like other teams have like several content creators.
Gosh. Now, what camera are you shooting on? What's your like go-to kind of workhorse camera that you're
Um,
using?
I actually have it right next to me.
Yes.
It's like we use Sony cameras. It's we
Very
use most of the time. I have when I'm like at every shoot, not only when I'm at Formula One races. We have a photo camera with us, because sometimes we still do stills for different kinds of opportunities. And of course, always a video focus camera, the Sony A7S Mark III. And so this combination makes like they had really good stuff. Like we can make really good stuff out of it. Also combine it with, for example, the DJI Osmo. That's a Pocket 3.
Mhm.
It's a really small camera, and for different kind of stuff, we can use different kind of cameras, so we get the best out of it.
Very cool. Very cool. So when you go to just like your remote shoots, because if and I'll put a link to Alpine Racer below, you go to these like crazy exotic locations, like drifting and doing cool stuff in snow, and you're out there. And similarly in the film industry, when we're doing like overnight locations, like I was on a movie in Montana, and it was like it was winter, and we were in a valley, and it's freezing, and you just don't want to do, your hands are freezing. Now granted, I'm from California, so you're a little bit more used to it than I am.
I
But
see.
what's it like doing such high importance maneuver that you can't reset, go back to one, and that many million times, because A, you have these luxury cars that you don't want to be doing that in, but also B, it's cold as hell. So what's your go-to like setup for being in those types of situations, like outdoor, all of that?
You mean setup wise of camera, or like
Well,
what?
just your base camp, are you
No.
just like pitching a tent, getting some like a little crafty table going? I don't know if it's the same, words, whatever. But we have our snack table, and then we just like throw our gear in some Pelicans and go out and run and gun it. Or are you a little more produced because of elements? How do you handle that?
We focus on like getting the shot, and how to get the shot is like focus on like all the circumstances around you and everything. So we work like pretty lean and agile. Like we just use as much people as we need at the shoot, and sometimes we just like don't even like prepare something, build up something. I mean, we just go there, do the best out of it, and afterwards the only thing matters is what you get through your camera. It doesn't matter how it looked behind it. So we just we just focus on getting that shot, or like that storyline that we need. So that's the good thing for us, because we worked all the time like as a small group to how should I say it, like do as much out of the situation with as less people.
Capitalize on the people around you and what they can do and bring to the table without having to hire out a huge team. Fair.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Fair. So you're 22 years old. You're kind of like in this generation now where social media is obviously like a huge proponent of content creation. And where do you see that going? Do you see eventually things just getting so oversaturated that you just can't cut through the noise? Like where do you see the social media content creation world kind of headed in, let's say 3 and then 5 years from now?
Of course, at the moment it's pretty interesting because there's like a trend happening every other time. Wait a second, I have to.
All good.
Okay, yeah, it's pretty interesting time at the moment because it's very fast paced. Like this whole social media world changes every other like second. The algorithms change. Like what works good the other day works not good on the other day. So you have to be on it, of course. But I think it's going into a quite good direction, because what we see from our side, we can like adapt pretty good to these different circumstances of what, for example, Instagram is doing. Mm-hmm. And I think we get like the most out of it at the moment.
Do you use a lot of AI in your process? Like, have you started, using those tips and tricks to make your workload lighter?
We just talked about this this morning as well. But like from time to time we use AI, of course, because it makes the work easier. But we didn't fully adapt everything that the AI brought already. But I think it's a process, and we have to work with it, like for sure, because it's such a good opportunity. So for certain stuff, we already did adapt the AI opportunities.
Yeah, it's wild. I was working at a company that is knee deep in AI technology, so I went to a lot of conferences, and it's wild because I'm also at odds, because in the film industry it's threatening to take away a lot of jobs in the film industry, just in making sure there are assurances on how to properly use it, cite stuff and all of that. But it's just there's so many helpful ways for it to just optimize time management, to be honest. Like when it's used as a tool, it's like a great functionality, but it's just using it responsibly and not saying, oh yeah, I shot there. It's almost like in the movie world, CGI, it's like it's gotten so generic, and it's just making sure things stay original. And I think that's why I love your content so much, because it's first of all, what I like to say is like it's dipped in art. It's like artful. You can tell it's not just on like, I'm sure you use zoom lenses, but like it's like the compression of spaces, and it's just artful, and it's so much easier to stand out when you have content like that. So in the past contract that you've had within Formula One, what has been your favorite post that you've created, like your favorite piece of content that you've created? And then which one was that like most successful? And did you actually like the one that was successful?
The thing is,
and if you get in trouble, you don't have to say which one you didn't like if it gets you in trouble. But
I mean, it's probably one of those funny ones. It's all the time. It's like the ones that don't need that much like knowledge of video wise. It's just
Mhm.
like the idea behind it that makes it like so special, so funny. And yeah, of course, when you have like certain people in front of the camera, that makes life way easier because they're so funny overall.
Very
And
true.
there's like this one um, video that we just shot last week, and it's just this trend that first they show an older video, like mostly slow, like bad resolution, and
Yeah.
there's this one girl like kickboxing a
I
bottle
saw
out of the frame, and the bottle lands in the driver's hand, and he pushes it away like 3 times, and it's like pretty
It's
yeah, it's
perfect.
pretty funny, and it's not nothing special video wise. It's just
Yeah.
like quite cool. And this is also one of the most viewed videos. I don't know if it's the actual most viewed video on the channel, but it's
Proof.
definitely one of the best one.
I approve that. That I could support that cause. But when you're on or I guess not on set, like how many hour days are you pulling? Because it's a bit of a different schedule where it's like weekend based, but are you shooting content, prior to that week so you already have some preloaded ready to go, and then you do the live time stuff the weekend? Or how many days do you get in what play in? Gosh, the travel is just, the logistics is insane to me. It's
Mhm.
quite phenomenal, just logistically speaking. The shipping alone of stuff is
Mhm.
wild, but
That's crazy.
but well, you could go down that road forever. But for you, what does your typical hour day look like?
Like a normal week starts around that Monday or Tuesday for traveling. Sometimes also on Wednesday for European races because it's quite close for us.
Yeah.
But we have to go when we have to go overseas. It starts earlier, of course, so that we're there some like one day before. Also, if something happens
Oof,
travel wise.
oof,
But normally we're there on Wednesday. On Thursday is the first day on track, and we have our that's media day. It's called media
hmm,
day because on this day they have all their interviews with different kinds of people, and they have um, yeah, all like interviews for different kinds of media, but also
hmm.
the social media slot with me, for example. Then I
Oh,
have
cool.
like, for example, a certain amount of time with the drivers and film these kinds of funny videos. So this is pre-produced, and afterwards they're like the stuff that is ongoing through the whole weekend. So I just adapt to what is happening, of course. On Friday, we have the practice day normally. On Saturday is the qualifying day, and on Sunday the race day. And I just go wherever I have to go, where
Gosh.
like to film like the right stuff. And
Wow.
sometimes the days are quite long. It depends on how the schedule is for the
Yeah.
drivers or like for the whole team itself. So it can be quite a long day, but sometimes, yeah,
God.
like most of the
So
time, it's a long day.
do you travel to the states too? Like once you're on, you go to every single, like you have to go to every single one.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
I mean,
that's
like in our contract, we go to every single race, all 24 races, and on 5 races, I get some help from my friend from the company, Tim, for like the bigger like races. For example, Las Vegas
mhm.
is one of the bigger races, and
Oof.
there we will be 2 people to also adapt everything or like handle everything that is happening on track.
Did you go to Vegas last year?
Sadly not, no.
No. I'm just so curious to see how much light that sphere, like the sphere throws off, and like how much that's gonna mess with your camera settings. That's like, I love how like I was watching that and I'm like, man, you have to like, they're moving at such a high rate of speed, plus you have this sphere that's just massive and bright and really strange. But I mean, obviously very cool. But I was just thinking about, like, in the film industry, and I don't know if, I'm sure you've come across this in, I don't know, maybe like a car launch or something, but those walls that are all pixels because it's
Of
whatever the
course, yeah.
motion capture, like it is shooting on that. And so I was a still photographer for years and years in the feature film industry, and shooting practical was like one of my favorite things to do. And then you go on and you step onto these screens and they're just massive and a lot, but like if you're not synced into the screen, your images are gonna, be ass. So you just got to shoot on like an 85 and compress that space somehow. Do you have like when you're going and doing some stuff for your Alpine channel? Do you go to like car events like that and do more of a commercial angle, or are you trying to keep everything outside? Because I mean, you guys have the most beautiful backdrop in the world.
Um, like it depends on what the client needs or wants. We work for different kinds of clients, and they have different kinds of ideas that they want to showcase. But when the event is all inside, we don't bring the car outside. Of course, sometimes that even like really special cars that they never been like on the road and so on. So of course they stay in whatever like a showroom or whatever we have to go. But of course, we love the opportunity to bring the cars to the beautiful sceneries in Switzerland, for example, or like what we have around in Europe, and bring the cars to the mountains and shoot like the coolest stuff ever, because we have these mountains and we have sometimes really cool weather situations, and like you can make a lot out of it. And we really like when the client gives us all the opportunities and all the freedom of how we want to create the stuff. So we bring the cars to the place where they belong, and that's definitely a cool mountain road in the mount, in the Swiss Alps. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Do you get to the people hiring you? And I know it varies and whatnot, but are they companies? Are they private owners? Are you finding just like access to these cars through word of mouth? How are you kind of finding your client roster for that side of the world?
Like most of the clients or like most of the people we work with are like companies that use the videos and photos commercially. So that they have, for example, a dealership or like a company that imports the cars to Switzerland. And we also have private collectors, of course. We have different kinds of clients from, like, even we have a saddler that works with cars, like do the leather stuff and so on. But we also have like electric cars. We have old timer companies. We also work with watch companies, and sometimes even with nice hotels that are like focusing a bit on the automotive
luxury
industry.
And just higher end. Very smart. So when you first started, how did you kind of fall into your clients? Was it just, people came to you? Did you say like, hey, let me shoot a cool video for you and you tell me what you think? Like, what was your approach to when you were just first starting out?
Like when I actually was like starting this whole journey, it was like mostly through social media, actually mostly through Instagram. I made a lot of photography and videography in the Swiss Alps, and then somehow I got in contact with tourism boards, and could even invite some people from like America or Canada to Switzerland and work with them for different kinds of projects. And that's how everything came came along, actually, because through Instagram I met so many great people that I still work with today. And from this point, or like these possibilities, yeah, like when I started to get this one job, I could get the other job. And like people started talking about it, and from that point on, we got the first clients. Afterwards, for Alpine Racer, we also just said, yeah, we're here. We started this project with people that we know, like with cars from friends or cars from people that we knew from along the journey. And then afterwards, we got our first client, for example, e-bookers, like this the travel platform, because it was through like during the COVID pandemic, and we had the opportunity to make something just in Switzerland because they wanted to promote like in-country travel. So
Right.
we because we were not allowed to leave the country,
Leave.
or like,
Right.
and then we had to adapt, and we made a project out of it with an old timer to do a road trip through Switzerland, and to
So
still
cool.
do a cool project. And
Yeah.
yeah, like
Now,
one thing.
well, you're 22 years old, so like, do you shoot at all on film, or have you like? Is that just not even on your radar? And I'm not even that. I'm 32, so I'm only 10 years older. But like, film was my shit for the longest time, and natural light and stuff. And now you're moving into commercial. Did you ever have that like section of time where you were into kind of more of a film? Maybe I got it, maybe I did it vibe.
Can you repeat the actual question, because I didn't understand it for a second? Sorry.
Yeah. So the film, did you ever have like a film phase where you only wanted to shoot on film and have that kind of like time as a photographer when you were first starting out?
I mean, I mean actual film from back in the
Yes.
days.
Yes. Yes.
Now I get it. Sorry. Actually, when I made an apprenticeship as a, like, it could be translated to photographic expert or something like this, photography expert, in Switzerland. It's a 3-year apprenticeship. So I learned actually how to develop also the film, and work with all this stuff that is brought with it. And yeah, I used to
I
shoot.
still remember the smell on my fingers.
Yeah,
like the
I
chemical.
actually, I don't know if you like it, but I didn't like it that much.
Yeah, no,
But
but it just always was there. It was like
Yeah.
it was my childhood, but yeah, it's that's really
even
cool.
like at one time we made ourselves like a camera obscura, like the first camera with
Oh,
with
cool.
with
The mirrors.
it was like yeah, even with a mirror in the shoebox, for example, or something like really special. And then afterwards we yeah, started with different kinds of cameras. I still have like this one Rolei camera that I always bring with me to certain shoots, because it's always fun to shoot on film. So, but of
And
course, for all the different stuff, we need actual
yeah.
cameras, because we,
that turnaround time won't work for you.
of course, would be actually cool to shoot the whole weekend only on film.
Right.
But
You're
I
like,
think
oh,
it's
sorry. And you think about it, like back in the day, that's what they literally had to do. Can you just imagine? Because, like, there's been, now granted, social media, take it for newspaper, but there were photographers from back in the day, and they went to a race and they shot it. They went home and, like, saw if they had something, then had to sell it directly to the newspapers. Like, such a different world, but they were still doing it, which is like so badass at the same time, because you're just like, man, I mean, granted, the cars were moving a little bit slower, so but
of course.
challenge accepted. Now you have to start shooting at least one little roll every weekend on top of all of your other things that you have
Yeah.
to do.
I think for the next race, I will definitely bring one of the film cameras with me again. Actually, I brought it to the last race as well, but I didn't use it that much. But for the next one, I will use it.
What film were you using?
I think it was a Fujifilm, quite a generic one, nothing special. Because
my heart and soul is Portra 400. The color, the tones
Yeah.
are just so beautiful.
It's actually a really nice film.
Yeah,
But sometimes I'm just like at the city, like where we have our hotel, and then I have to search for another film to get into, because sometimes it's not that easy to actually get the right stuff at the right place, because they're not like don't get this at every corner.
Nope. And then you have like those crazy camera techniques, like the tintypes. Have you seen those rad tintypes?
I don't think.
I'll have to send you a link, but it's basically it's a chemical process, and there's like these bleeds of chemical that come through the image, and it's, you know, back from I'm gonna put myself into a corner, like I want to say the 1800s, but really cool, but gives the most stunning amount of detail. It's almost like a painting mixed with lithography, I believe it's called. I'll
Okay.
send you some. It's beautiful, but I don't even know how. But some portraits of that would be, but you have to stand real still for
Okay.
a second, but it would be worth the time. But I that's one of my favorite things, is trying to build my content, because like I'm in that weird millennial world where, you know, you want, you know, I love old timey things, but also at the same time this like new wave, and finding an artful way to like bring it together. And you
Hmm.
know, when at all possible, I like to use like practical stuff. But AI is very much up on the way. But anyways, I know we've already taken up, it's already almost 30 minutes, but I just wanted to say thank you so much for having come on, my first guest. Woo!
Yeah, thanks a lot.
I am an admirer of your content creation and your photography. I'll put all the links down below so everybody can check it out. But thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing your stuff out on the
Thanks a lot for
interwebs.
having me. It was a really nice talk, and looking forward for some more podcasts with you. Yeah,
Yes,
thank you so
yeah,
much.
absolutely. Bye. Have a good night
Goodbye.
or morning. Bye.
It's a morning, yeah, actually. Thank
Right,
you.
right, morning.